Hello, I'm Jelelle Awen, and this is the 5th video in my Deepen 2020 series. And I'm creating this series in response to your questions and comments and processes that I'm seeing in sessions and in my own process. So they're sort of organic and spontaneous in that way, based on what the current need is, or what it feels like it is. So what's been coming through lately in these new year and new decade energies is a reboot around the matrices of control that have been in place for a long time. And I think you probably know something about the 3D matrix that much of humanity is still living in. And that matrix is one that's very well described, and you can get a good sense of why that's there and how that's there, why it's maintained and how it's maintained. And what I like to feel into is actually the energies, especially the reptilian beings that are projecting that 3D matrix, and why. And I've gotten this information through connecting with my own reptilian aspects, fragments of my soul, which I do feel that it's very likely that we all have a reptilian aspect that is actually quite close to us energetically in a, we could say, lower fourth dimensional frequency, so that we can't see them with our physical eyes. Yet their world is quite overlaid onto us. They're almost a twin in that way. And as I connect to this, let's just call them a reptilian self, as I connect to this in myself and in others, they have shared with me their reality, which is also connected to and controlled by a matrix. And this matrix is what you could call the lower 4D matrix, one mind matrix. I've also had it referred to as the group. And the feeling of this one mind matrix is that it's an artificial intelligence program that keeps the reptilians in a certain frequency where they don't have individuality or sovereignty or their own thoughts and feelings. And they don't realize that they don't have these things consciously. They can feel through us, they can feel through humanity that we have these things. And there's a jealousy in them about that. I think that's what fuels the need to control us. There is also, on the flip side, an admiration of us and our emotions and our choices and being able to have desires. So when you first find out about the 3D matrix, there can be a lot of rage that comes up and a lot of fear. And even when it's shared about, people have said to me, so many people that share about this matrix, they just feel so fear-based about it. And I think that fear is what comes up for us as humans whenever we feel controlled by anything outside of us. And that feeling of being controlled or suppressed or dominated, that's one of the phases that we go through in our emotional bodies as we calibrate to this matrix reality. And then also anger. So then we can project onto these reptilians that they're evil, all of them are evil, and there can be a very strong energy of that. And then we can also blame them for pretty much anything that actually, a lot of it is what we're choosing as humans to experience here. And so what I'm working with as a galactic ambassador, and in my work with women in particular, is to create a bridge to this reptilian self so that you can begin to compassionately, authentically feel them and forgive them. And they can forgive you. And in that process, a whole new possibility opens out. So this reptilian self, you can feel how they're connected to this one mind. I've had it described as a sort of a tube or a pipe, and it's connected in through the causal chakra, which is in the back of the head, but it also extends down the top of our spine. And of course, our reptilian brainstem is in there. And it's plugged into the causal in such a way that many people experience as they awaken head, neck, and shoulder pain. I've also seen it shown to me as a cap. So that's not a plug so much as a cap that's over the crown and the third eye. And they're both, the plug in the back and the crown are connected to the one mind, which can be represented by a spaceship or just seen as a computer program, a bunch of code. It's not something you can really interact with or become intimate with because it doesn't have thoughts and feelings. Unlike the reptilians, who once they're freed from the one mind, and that happens through connection with you, then they start becoming aware of their own consciousness. If I'm connecting with the reptilian, for example, and they use I and not we, then I can feel how they're starting to free themselves. They're starting to look around and realize the one mind that's been controlling them. And then also what they've been involved with humanity as well, and how they've been programmed to feel disgust for us, feel a need to control us. At the same time, they're feeling jealous of us. So it's complicated. It's not just a black and white, they're evil and they're dominating and manipulating us. And this is actually, if you feel it on the soul level, the higher level, this is a collaboration between humanity and these reptilian beings. We've agreed to this arrangement. As you start pulling back and you can see and feel through your reptilian self, you can feel that they're also enslaved in some ways at deeper levels than we are, because they don't even know they're an I. They don't even know that they have a choice. So as your heart starts opening to that reality for them and you start feeling compassion toward them, you both get free. Now that sounds simple. To get there is the process of bridging that I'm going to offer today in the meditation, to begin to bridge you to your reptilian self and begin the process of unplugging them from the one mind matrix. Now this is a one-time meditation, so whatever you experience of this will be helpful for you and your reptilian, but it's also what I find more of a process that can have many layers to it. I really recommend, if you have a profound experience here or you feel like this is important work for you to do, then I do highly recommend engaging in a one-on-one session. If you're a woman with me, if you're a woman or a man with Raphael, because it's in that session space where we can create the bridges that are necessary to open this up. And there are sometimes many steps that need to be taken. There can be an aversion to meeting your reptilian self, to even admitting that you have one. I notice that makes people pretty uneasy, especially if they have felt a lot of anger toward the reptilians. But this is another aspect of shadow work. People are getting more and more attuned that we need to embrace and explore our shadow. So in our current culture, this is in the shadow. Even those that are awakening and know about the reptilians place themselves in a shadow relationship to it, to the degree that they're villainizing the reptilians, to the degree that they feel so afraid of them, to the degree that they're experiencing attacks from them. This is all a shadow place to be, that we can go beyond that and experience, as I was saying, collaboration and forgiveness. And people have been thanking me lately for this perspective, because I think what it does is it kind of brings some air into the room. It opens a window and it brings in some sunlight, so that we're not just seeing ourselves as victims to this reptilian race, because that doesn't feel very good to our sacred humanity to feel that way. So where we get empowered is to feel the collaboration that this has been, the agreement that we made with this species, and that we have an aspect of our soul that is on their side experiencing this. One of the things that my reptilian selves have offered too is that the reptilians have been offered a home planet, a new planet that fits their makeup. When I see it as very tropical, just like reptilians like the heat and the warmth. And many of them have started to relocate, so to pull out of the lower 4D grid that they're in their own matrix around our matrix, pulling out of that and relocating to their own planet. That's very scary for them and disorienting. To even be unplugged from the one mind is very confusing at first. So it takes time for them to accept that, but then feel that it's actually okay for them to choose and that they're not going to be reprimanded for it. And what I've noticed is we aren't punished once we make the choice. It's in thinking that we're going to be punished, or some kind of retribution is going to happen if we make a choice that keeps us in these trapped places. So whether it's a human being that's unplugging from the 3D matrix, waking up to it, or a reptilian who's moving out of the one mind matrix, it's the same process of moving beyond the fear in order to make the choice of love. So this is what we're doing on the inside. We're doing it for our soul. And then of course there's a huge collective ambassadorship in this process. So if you're doing this today, if you're going to bravely see if you can meet your reptilian self today, and you're open to that, you're serving the collective, many of which don't even know about this reality yet. I've definitely been guided that this is going to become much more exposed in the next decade. So there will be a lot of souls waking up to this reality that have never known this before. And they will need souls who have reconciled it, who have found compassion for it, and who have connected to it inside of themselves. They will need you as a beacon for them. So it's an important piece of collective ambassadorship. So there's that, and that's usually motivating to people. But we'll start first with connecting to, I'm seeing that we can connect to the reptilian self today. Whatever you see or feel in this meditation, don't feel pressure to do that today. Just let the experience unfold, and it'll meet you exactly where is needed in this moment. So go ahead and close your eyes. I'm going to catch my breath here for a moment. And begin to bring your focus inward. See yourself surrounded in white light, supported and safe. And loved. And if there's any guides and or metasoul aspects, soul fragments of yours that you work with, invite them in now. Any archangels? I'm seeing Michael, who's our protector. He's kind of humanity's protector. And then who keeps coming to me is my reptilian self, Sheryl. So maybe she's kind of offering herself as an ambassador here. So See Michael on your right side, that masculine with a staff. I don't see him with a sword anymore. He just has this protective energy that's reassuring. And then if you want to tune into Sheryl, my reptilian, she feels like me, but she's about 8 feet tall with beautiful scales. They're iridescent. They're not one color, they're many colors. She has yellow eyes, reptilian eyes, some female form there. And she's smiling. She's very happy to help with this. She's been helping her species wake up quite a bit lately. So she's happy to help any humans that would like that assistance, she says. So with Michael and me and Sheryl and you, I'm seeing just 1 second, I'm just tuning in here. I'm going to take you somewhere that a facilitant took me in session space because it felt very much where the reptilians live. And it was a desert planet, red sand. The atmosphere is kind of dusty and clouded, and the sun is red. There's not much vegetation here, and it just feels barren. So take this world in and see how you feel about it. It might feel even familiar. Reminds me of the surface of Mars. Maybe it is. As you're tuning into this world, this dimension, ask if your reptilian self would come forward. And you would see them as a lizard being, similar to Sheryl. If you feel any fear in your heart toward the reptilian, just ask for support from Michael. We're in a white space right now. We're in this dimension, but we're in a sort of bubble that's been created for us to make this safe. So tune into this reptilian. What do they feel like? They might be kind of confused. Or they might know exactly who you are. You can ask them how they relate to you and your life. They might see it like a TV, like a show. Or be very intimately connected. See if you can tune into any kind of plug, in the back of their head, in that causal area. It's in the same area for them. And then there may be a tube coming off of it, extending up. There may also be a cap on their head. They may not even know that they have these plugs. If you're starting to feel some discomfort in the back of your neck or head or on the top of your head, just give some love to your own physical body. Maybe put your hand chakra on anywhere that hurts. Offer some white light. This is a fusion that can happen here between your reptilian self and you. So we're in process of separating this. But we don't want to hurt your physical body. Take it as slow as you need to. And if that feels like enough for today, just to have met your reptilian, then you can pause here, connect with them. I do recommend asking them their name, if they have one. How they relate to that plug. Do they know about one mind? How do they experience life under that program? And maybe they're already doing this, but if you also feel like they're ready, you can help them unplug from the one mind. Michael can come forward and help too. Just dissolves with light, and they can remove it. And they can remove the cap as well. Maybe they don't want to right now, and that's okay. But if they do, you can help them do that. And if they feel ready for even the next step, you can invite them to a new world with you. Maybe somewhere that you visit in meditation. Could be your castle or the ocean. Somewhere that brings you peace and you can take this reptilian self with you if they're ready for that. And I feel Sheryl, my reptilian wanting to say to them that it's going to be okay. I know it's scary to have your own thoughts and feelings start to flood in. It will take you time to get used to being an I. It will feel lonely. But you have this human here that wants to know you and love you. And you can learn to trust them. These humans aren't all bad. They have shadow just like we do. They also have great love. And they can forgive. as you forgive yourself, as you let the divine forgive you. So your reptilian can let in this message. It's almost like a new code. And Sheryl's also showing them the new planet that they get to go to when they want to. And it's quite lush and beautiful, tropical. But they may need some transition first and recovery. So wherever this process took you today, send love to your reptilian. Feel in your heart the possibilities that this opens up. And go ahead and open your eyes. And thank you from Sheryl and I for engaging in this at whatever degree and level that you could today. It really does make a difference. It brings new kinds of hope and possibility. See you later.